All right. And welcome back, everyone, to another set here at the CCA tonight. As a part of our doubleheader, we have a third place Division 4 match with the Goomies going up against CSULB Black, two teams who have fought really hard this past season, have done very well for themselves, and are looking to clutch this third place spot. And I'm once again joined by Astrum. Astrum, do
Hello.
you have any big thoughts leading into this set today?
Um, I do not actually. The last time I seen Goomies was like last season. Honestly, I've not been keeping up as much as I would like. But knowing anything about these two teams is that it's gonna be a good fight. These two teams, anytime they fight each other, is just wonderful to watch.
Absolutely. And both of these teams kind of a little bit of a history with each other in the grand scheme of things. They've fought, of course, earlier on, I believe, in the CCA tournament, but they've also sometimes shown up against each other in circuit and previous seasons. So got a little bit of a rivalry going on here, I think.
For sure. And this will be the same map list as the finals map list. So we will be starting off with Robo Ramen Zones once again. Very neutral map. Very, very good opener to see how these two teams play against each other.
For sure, for sure. Let's take a quick look back, though, at how playoffs has gone so far for both teams. Goomies was able to get a very decisive 5-0 win in their round one of playoffs against WPI Barry Grisco Workers Union. And then they had to fight the BSU Grizz Taco team in round two, unfortunately going 0-5 against them. BSU Grizz Taco really leading a strong fight into our grand finals when they get their own respective match here for Division 4 later on this week. But on the side of CSULB Black, they also had a really decisive first round 5-0 win against Turnpike. And leading into round two, they also suffered a 1-5 loss against the RT Orange Kois. So kind of have a really interesting dynamic here where actually if we take an additional step back, outside of one match in round one, every single team got a 5-0 in their respective sets. So we see a lot of powerhouses here for sure, Astrum.
Mm-hmm. A lot of 5-0s. Hopefully this one will be closer than a 5-0. I want to see a lot of good close matches. I want to see, hopefully, a game 7, game 8.
Yeah, I hope so too. Definitely love to see more Splatoon when we can get it. I won't lie about that, but heading into this map here, when it comes to Splat Zone's Robo Ramen, there's a lot of interesting things you can do on this map. Last time in our previous set, we saw a really close game overall between UTK and Walk as they kept fighting over the map. They kept getting decisive pushes, leads over each other, ultimately it going to UTK's favor. But when it comes to the Goomies versus CSULB Black, I'm not sure what we're going to necessarily fully see. I do know on the side of the Goomies, they do typically like to run potential double bucket comps when able. So that may be a theme across the course of this set. We also will see Rare around as well, I'm sure, who runs a pretty strong Headit and some of those more backline, midline type weapons that sit back and support the team when they can. So I think that that's going to be something that CSULB Black is going to have to keep in check if they're going to be able to deal with just all that paint that Goomies is going to be able to potentially spit out.
Absolutely. Um, like, especially in zones, I think like all of that paint that they spell. Like, I think they have, but they like run double bucket splash sometimes. So, really gonna be interesting to see what type of comps they run going into this match.
Absolutely. Um, as it continues to get set up here, though, I'm going to be looking for also just what sort of pushes and energy each side is able to put out. Um, both teams here historically definitely like to get a bit aggressive with their plays. They like to try to do what they can to take space whenever possible. So I think we may see some potential counterplays come into here as a factor of all that. Goomies being really strong with their paint, but CSULB Black may be coming out more with the picks, more with some of that stronger pressure there. So I'm going to be interested to see what can happen there.
For sure, for sure. Um. Hmm.
All right, but yeah, leading into the set as we wait for the members to still ready up. Um,
Oh,
we're actually going to be jumping in right now.
yeah, right now.
Jump
They're
scare.
ready.
Definitely love to see it.
Whoa!
Goomies in the
C-Jet!
blue, CSULB Black in the yellow here. And, ooh, yeah, we see a C-Jet. We see a lot of good paint from the side of CSULB Black, but like I was mentioning earlier, Goomies with a lot of strong paint themselves too, with members like Bubbles and Jay being able to pressure with the buckets. So already seeing at the very beginning of this match, 2 down, 3 down, a
Our
white
buckets are going
on the
crazy!
side of CSULB Black. And Goomies is now taking over the drops in different home base positions of
This is.
CSULB
Oh
Black.
my! The Reef Slider gets cancelled by the strikes. Oh no, the backline's in the front line actually, as the buckets backed up to try to find the pick on the Zap. The zone! Guys!
Yeah, what is happening here for sure, but a lot of chaos overall. Bubble getting a great pick there on that Gal player. A few more players going down in mid as well, and this is going to be leading Goomies into a strong position. So far, not really any of them outside the brush have gone down. The brush looking to just throw off the different members of CSULB Black and get good picks. The Sap here going for a solo paint push. They do get it, but Jay and Bubble are probably going to have something to say about that.
Looks like they're finding Jay on that wall there. What? Okay. Finding the pick. Whale coming out, trying to make some space here. 5 points to take the lead, but it's still early in the game. Both teams only at 70. A lot slower scoring than last set.
Indeed, indeed. And we actually see a wipeout on the side of Goomies, and now, like how we saw that early big push from Goomies, it's going to be CSULB Black's turn. And the difference here is that CSULB Black already has a lot more points on the board. Goomies has to act fast here. We do see Bubbles going down there on the bucket, leaving just Jay trying to get some strikes out alone, try to stall out a little bit alone. But unfortunately, a Gal is still in their base. They do go down, but it's kind of do or die now for Goomies. They have to get paint up. They have to get all their specials up again.
They do have. Oh no! Their other bucket died with strikes. But on the zone, it's 2v1. It's just one. Oh no.
Yeah, Rare being the absolute goat there, doing what they can to hold that zone in their favor. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. The members of Goomies weren't able to hold that zone down as long as they maybe would have liked to, and that's going to be the first match on the side of CSULB Black. Really strong showings from both teams. Really solid comps overall. Looking forward to what we have next in store.
Absolutely. I really liked how they when they were just both playing neutral. There was a lot of back and forth in neutral. The zone kept getting flipped back and forth, but once one team really got that first wipeout, they held strong, and I think it's gonna be up to what was it, Goomies, to like figure out how to get back into those games in that situation.
I think a really strong choice, really strong strategy for Goomies would be to just try to play some of those ledges and some of those different sort of sharking spots best they can. When you have a bucket that can put out a lot of paint, when you have two buckets that can put out a lot of paint, they don't necessarily have to be the big slayers or the big even skirmishers throughout most of the set. You can leave a lot of that pressure up to the brush, who can throw out a lot of bombs. They can throw out the whale. They can start that aggression, right, Astrom? They can try to keep that attention off the rest of the team, who can then fall in together and take out the different members of CSULB Black. So I think if they lean into something like that here, we could see a potential really strong switch in energy. But overall, really good props to CSULB Black. We saw players like the Dread Ringer, players like the 52 Gal, who did a great job of getting the picks they needed, invading space
Yeah,
that
like
was able to
living
throw
in
off
the
the
back
Goomies.
line.
Yeah, pretty much
Absolutely.
living. Yeah. like being an absolute rat and causing a lot of issues for players like the Headit from Goomies, who had to constantly keep them in check. And as it's going to be potentially little bit of a similar theme to last set, where you have some of those really hardcore flankers going up against some of those more somewhat traditional players and how they choose to go about some of their plays. So I do think Goomies has the tools to maybe do something differently here, but I'm interested to see how this continues to go as the next map mode gets ready, which should be indeed, if I remember correctly, tower control ship shape.
Power control ship shape. Really, and it is one of those maps again where it's like neutral can last like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but once you get past that first checkpoint, you better start praying.
That's definitely a way to put it. Definitely think I agree. It gets really snowbally. We saw it last time, and we'll probably see it here again. I do think we will see a lot of good stuff from both sides. There's a lot of different tools they have at play. As long as the Goomies are able to keep one of their buckets up, assuming they choose to continue a V Slosher style comp, they're going to have two sets of strikes to play off of. That's massive. And you have the Killer Whale, too.
A lot of tools to get people off of tower. Super important. However, if you don't take advantage of that space and they just get right back on, you're gonna have a problem. Strikes
Exactly.
doesn't really last that long unless you space it out. But if you space it out, you got one player that's just sitting there in strikes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're going to be jumping right off the bat into this next set here with both teams setting up. We're going to continue to see that double V slosher come from the side of Goomies with the members of CSULB Black, keeping a pretty similar vibe to what they had before, although opting to swap out that gal here. But, oh, we already see 3 down from the side of CSULB Black, although also 2 down from the side of Goomies. That shot player, I believe, doing a great job of being able to stay up and just cause a lot of chaos for Goomies, taking out a few members and staggering them a little bit. And their special.
Look at those strikes! And they're just so aggressive with them. They're like, we have cooler, we have spikes, you're stuck in the corner, we're going in.
No, absolutely. The brush does go down, who had a really good play there on the top plat. Oh, and Rare from the tower goes down as well.
Bubble kind of stuck in trips here, not going to get punished for it, able to get the trips off, getting all the jumps back in actually. This is really looking bad for CSU back.
No, it is for sure. Jay doing a good job here of trying to play up, trying to get some picks. Unfortunately, not necessarily finding any big ones. But the Goomies, you know, everything considered, they're doing a really good job here. They are currently threatening that last checkpoint. They have most of it granted down. They're past it now. And all they have to do is just stay up, make sure they don't wipe, and they may be cooking here.
They had all their specials. They had all of them, but look at that gal with the double, clutching up more strikes on the tower just to make sure they don't touch it, bringing it back to the middle. But they're just jumping in, trying to get as much stuff as possible. Unfortunately, one going down, but is able to get the jumps back in. 3 people on the right side trying to secure their pillow.
Look at Jay here over on the left. I think if there's something good that Goomies has done here compared to the last game that CSULB Black actually did to them, they've been just taking up space constantly. Look at them. They're constantly just walking on the CSULB's Blacks.
Well, I think they're a little bit too aggressive now on this defense. Never mind the brush finding 1. Can they find 2? Not. Oh, they can! With the help of Jay!
Jay doing a great job playing up with the rest of the members of the Goomies, getting some key picks there, and Naomi also holding out great as well. As we head into this another attempt at trying to check, I think we're gonna have to see the Goomies play up a bit more, which so far they're doing a good job at.
Look at that cooler empowered with the strikes to just go in is so great. To just really make so much space so quickly. It's so hard to get through that alley, in my opinion.
It really is, and when you have players on that snipe too, it's hard to. But look at that! They just kind of casually stroll up and take that final checkpoint, bringing the set to a 1-1.
Like, in my mind, I was like, oh, Blaster clears this, easy. And then the game ended, and I was like, what?
No, literally, yeah, for sure. And I think what wasn't maybe captured super well there by the camera, but from what I could tell, did seem to happen. Goomies did a good job of dragging attention over to the CSULB Black left plat. They were able to drag some members over there, making them just feel a bit more threatened. They had to bring their attention over there in order to get some key picks, but the members of CSULB Black really had to just keep their eyes on the tower at that point. When you have the tower strolling through that little street there, right? They have to make sure it can't get that final checkpoint, and that's exactly what happened here. But heading into our third game with a 1-1, it's gonna be pretty interesting to see what both sides choose to pull out.
Both of these matches were very much whichever team won the mid fight won the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. I definitely agree with that, and I think we saw a very similar strategy from each team when they were able to actually win that mid fight. On the side of CSULB Black in that first match on Robo Ramen Zones, they were able to just kind of constantly almost live on the drops and different base areas that Goomies had available to them, which prevented them from being able to confidently move in. And then when it came to the Goomies on this last tower match, they were able to play a similar strategy by using the different parts of the map, using the different plats, using the different snipes to really just constantly live there. Even when they did eventually finally get pushed out, just with the amount of space they were able to take up, it was able to buy them time to ultimately gain momentum and regain a solid push, which ultimately led them to the KO.
Absolutely. It was really crazy how much space the sloshers were able to take just so quickly. Like once they got cooler, they just sort of like, okay, we're going in, we're going to take as much space as possible, and if we die, we're fine. We have cooler. And then like with those ledges again, like Slosher's just so good at pressuring both of the left and right side ledges. It was just incredible to see just how much paint they were putting out on there.
Absolutely, I agree there. And when it comes to just what we can expect in our next match here, which should be, yes, Rainmaker on Humpback as we jump right into it. It's going to be interesting to see how both teams choose to play this out. Will
Wellstringer Dread. Oh my god.
Wellstringer Dread. Yeah, that might be a little bit of a hydrogen bomb for Goomies to have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do see that quick pop come out on the side of favor of CSULB Black, and with the milk get that quick pop, and now it's going to be Goomies' turn to try to figure out how they can find some picks.
Absolutely, but 3 down on Goomies. CSULB back, trying to find a push here, trying to find Jay actually just in the corner. He's going to find the pick.
Yeah, he does find the pick. CSULB Black, although going down, they do find that first checkpoint. That's massive for them. That's going to be good points on the board, and that's going to enable them to try to get a good push forward. 2 Goomies members going down, too.
They're pushing so fast. Wait, that's not where you want to be if you're the bucket. This is so dangerous positioning for Jay there. Like, it worked out for them, but it was so risky because they weren't in position to block the Rainmaker if their team had lost that 3v4.
No, agreed for sure, but hey, look at that M-parry behind them. That's going to be a threat. They aren't necessarily full-blown committing to this push here, but we still see Goomies. They need to find this Rainmaker play still. They still need to grab that checkpoint, and the members of CSULB Black are just rushing in bubble, trying to just hold space, hold their shoulder here best they can, but looks like Goomies still have to kind of gradually feed in some space. We do see kind of a premature play there from the Reef Slider, which doesn't necessarily find any picks, but 2 members are down the side of Goomies from some chip and bombs. It's gonna
I'm just waiting
down
to splash
to
down.
take and hold. Good call there.
Yeah, like it's like they want to use it, I want to use it there. Unable to get any more points, but bringing it back to 50. It's just the zap. That's a terrifying situation. If you're the zap with cooler, you do not want to die there.
No, that definitely is. They do pop. But that's a really good spot, honestly.
That's honestly not a bad cooler yeet. 2 going down on CSU back. Goomies trying to get this checkpoint still. No flanks this time, it looks like, as they're just not going to. The landmines, basically, set by the Wellstring.
No, literally, that's a really powerful play to be able to make, and with only 2 actively up on the side of Goomies, they have to try to figure out a way to stall here and buy time for the rest of them to come up. If I'm Goomies here, I just want to try to stall, get some points a little bit, but not necessarily feed in just yet. We do see Duke here going for a jump as they did drop off that plat there, but it's going to be Goomies pop here, and strikes gradually coming out, but a little bit too staggered and delayed to get too much value from the looks of it.
I did not expect that Reslider to get 2.
Good point, yeah.
Whoa! I didn't expect the brush to get 2!
2 for 2 indeed. We see Jay here trying to take space up once again. This could actually, even though it's a good spot to stall the Rainmaker, it seems to be a really great spot for the Goomies to actually find some good picks. And now it's kind of go time for Goomies.
Whoa.
Bubble and Jay playing off each other so well, getting big strikes.
The double slosh, the double strikes, everything looks so good there. Bring it all the way to 16. Getting past that rail is really difficult.
It is, but hey, Goomies aren't out yet. Even though the Rainmaker was dropped, look who currently owns the CSULB Black plat. It is not CSULB Black right now. Goomies doing a great job of holding space, finding the pop, the Dreadringer doing what they can to try to find a pick here on Rare to head it, but despite everything, Goomies is still living.
Why are they still in the plat? The Rainmaker's off! I guess it is a good play though, because they have such a good lead. They can just if they have the positioning, they can just take that timer down, make them waste resources just getting them out of plat. They don't have to give that space up.
No, they don't for sure. But hey, if you're
but this is looking so bad.
Is it really that bad though when you have 2 buckets on your side?
Yeah, just on the pillar, just making a line of "You shall not cross this line of bucket."
Literally, and then you have the strikes to play off of that too, and the splat bombs. Not bad at all.
That's a wipeout in Rare already. We're going the far right lane, taking up so much space. The brush, the blue carpet to the pillar made by the brush. That's so smart and actually a lot harder because it's so easy to get stuck in brush paint. I'm not gonna lie.
Big shout out to Naomi here, finding that cap.
Okay, sure.
This is why I love Goomies. This is why I love Goomies Astrum. They're so silly. They're like, what if we just chucked a nuclear bomb, then they sent a :3 after it.
Yeah, there's so many strikes, so many hitboxes just everywhere, and then Rush is just like, "Hello, I exist."
Hello. I mean, that was earlier in the match too. With just the different buckets being able to hold space, and even Rare kind of just existing in funny spots too, where it's like, oh, yeah, I'm the head it, and I'm actually behind you. That sucks, right?
Yeah. I think the bucket ran out of ink right before killing the brush as well, which is so sad.
Absolutely.
Dread is an ink hungry weapon.
Good showing though from CSULB Black. They were able to get their own scary pushes as well, where Goomies did have to fight a solid bit there to try to keep things in their favor. Doing a great job of keeping things in their favor, but this isn't the set over just yet. We've seen decisive wins from both sides. CSULB Black may be in a good spot here to bring it back for Clan Blitz Scorch Gorge as we head into our 4th map and mode of tonight. Any thoughts based on what we've seen so far, Astrum, that we may see pop out from both sides on
Double strikes is so crazy on this mode. I hate how much space strikes takes up in this mode because that corner, that basket area is so claustrophobic.
It really is. With all that space you have to try to cram everyone into. It feels like you're like a kindergarten teacher trying to just escort all the kids through a little narrow hallway where it's okay, guys, we gotta go in and do the thing.
We gotta go in. Don't mind the 6 bombs that they're throwing at you.
Literally
just put the clam in the basket. And your secondary route isn't even that much better. It's you really want to are you really about to walk across bridge?
I mean, there have been some great teams who have been able to pull off some good plays by going across the bridge, and it's done infrequently enough that people still don't necessarily expect it, especially if they don't have a
Yeah,
backline on that snipe. And to be honest, if anyone's going to be able to pull it off here, I think it could be Naomi with the ink brush, being able to just quickly move across that grate and just drop off and and just drag attention away from the basket. That may be a good play for Goomies. On the side of
yeah.
CSULB Black, though, we do have that Gal who was able to take up a lot of crazy space in that first match. We may see similar plays here from them.
As we see going into the fly and seeing these weapons. Whoa! That's not a clams. That's a clams comp?
Hey, if it cooks, it cooks, and they're opting to go for maybe something that could trip the Goomies up a little bit here with the different objects that they can throw out. But as we start off this match here, we do see Naomi, Jay, and Bubble doing a good job of being able to take up a lot of pressure on Plat. Bubble already existing on the Plat a bit. Jay unfortunately going down, but the different members of CSULB Black have actually taken advantage of the situation very
That's a
well. They've
delayed
been
wipe,
able
yeah.
to actually get that delayed wipe. That's going to be massive for them. Now all the clams are in their favor, and they may be able to get an early wipe or push
A
here.
little too fast there, in my opinion. They were about to get 2 specials on board, but I think they could have waited a little bit. And instead, they're going to get wiped by Goomies, and Goomies also doing the same thing. Bubble already at the basket.
Yeah, indeed, and they still have to find that ball play to get in there. But all
that's
it's
why
going to
they
take
picked
is just
Wellspring.
playing slow and steady.
That's why they picked Wellspring. That is, I just saw all of those like,
All the different like,
Wellspring
crayons and arrows.
yeah, the crayons just like all up in the choke. But that's a good push down to 68 by Goomies. A really good opening push.
Indeed, indeed, and the Goomies doing a great job of starting it off, but hey, you still have to make sure you don't go down to players such as Duke on that Rapid Blast, on the Range Blaster, excuse me, or also that really strong bow that's going to continue to keep pushing out ink.
I thought Jay was about to try to 1v3 the entire enemy team.
Jason, main character. It's all good.
Really unfortunate bomb there. Just a lot of hitboxes being thrown out. Basket is going to get broken. 5 clams. I think they might get... Yeah, they're going to get all of that in, and that's going to be the lead by a couple of points. The flank not working out for the Goomies there, and the basket's still open.
Yeah, basket's still open, and they still have a few clams in tow behind them. CSULB Black doing a great job of managing to keep this play going. This Kraken doing a great job. This roof slider, even just that wave breaker being that little bit of a nuisance, extending this push.
Absolutely. You know, sometimes you just got to make him play salmon run.
Literally, yeah, that was a little bit of a salmon run moment of all things, especially when it comes to the basket.
Yep. But look at this. Just all the specials getting popped by Goomies here. Rush going with that whale. Not able to find anything, unfortunately. 1-for-1 trade. Strikes is going to come out. Oh my god, how are you alive?
Sentinel doing a great job of living through all of that mania. Jason also getting a kind of a little bit of a crazy drop here, but able to put out some good pressure and distract some members of the Goomy for a moment. But now it's going to be go time for Goomies as they look to try to get a push-up. Unfortunately, 2 going down. This is pretty back and forth right now, Ostrom.
This is extremely back and forth. Wavebreaker is going to come out, maybe to start something. Kraken coming out for CSU. Defensive, a lot of defensive stuff actually here. Like, oh my god, just trips, bomb, trips, but not enough as they get the wipeout. Oh, no, wait, no. Goomies gets the wipeout, but the clan still goes in.
Clam still goes in. They don't break any penalty, really, but... Yeah, we do see a double clan from the side of Goomies. That's going to be huge here as they look to at least even it out if they can get that ball. And the strikes here are going to be a pretty huge play in order to maybe get some of that pressure out. Unfortunately, only a few more clams going in. That ball not necessarily going in to accompany them just yet. Oh, but that wipe!
I don't even know what
enabling...
What?
No, I think some of those strikes there and bombs were able to help out with that, potentially. But
there's so many hitboxes.
No, there really are. Really from both sides, too. We see that Dread Ranger from the side of CSULB.
Beautiful!
We're getting a crazy triple.
Wait, they got a pop!
Yeah, they got it. They got it. They got the jump.
What? I thought the basket closed for a second. I'm like, oh no, it closed because there was a knockout.
Goomies really sending it home here. Being like, okay, we're warmed up now, we're awake now. Let's go and send out our strikes and really head out with this win, doing a great job of holding down the fort. And that's going to leave us at a 3-1 situation, though, as we head into Game 5, which will be Splat Zones on Mahi Mahi Resort. Yeah. Wow.
Woo! Crazy games.
Very crazy games indeed. And I think that reflects in what we've seen throughout the course of Division 4 so far. And this is like a very like blink and you'll miss it type set too. Like we had that moment a couple times just this last match ourselves where it's like, oh, that there was a wipeout. That just happened. But that's clearly going to be a constant theme. That's been a constant theme throughout Division 4 as well. And looking here, I think it's going to come down to like who can really just get the most use out of both of those wipeouts, and ideally get those when, you know, your opponent's not necessarily on cooler and they can get up really quick again.
Yeah. 4 seconds is a long, long time in Splatoon. So if you can get them on that full respawn timer, you have all the time in the world.
Absolutely, indeed. When it comes to here, though, on Zones Mahi Mahi, I think that, oh, it could go so many ways. I think if I'm the Goomies, I want to make sure that Dreadringer can get away with nothing, because it doesn't take too much to get that zone flip with that Reef Slider. But on the side of Goomies, so far, and I would assume we'll continue to see double Ink Strike, that's pretty big too. Just one Ink Strike alone can cap zone typically. So being able to have the insurance to get 2 down, and then you also have the head it to play out, and also that brush to distract, that's going to be really strong here for the Goomies. And if I'm them, I'm going to be wanting to make sure that we can do the best to just stop certain members of CSULB Black from getting some of those big pushes and those big flips that could occur.
And, like, being able to get those recaps as well. Like, Strikes is one of the better weapons right now to punish Reslider, because like if you kind of know what the Reslider wants to do, and on what is it, on like Zones Mahi, you know what the Reslider wants. You would know exactly what the Reslider wants to do. So using Strikes to punish that is actually a pretty good tool to have.
Agreed, and we'll be heading into this next set now as we take a look at what both teams can throw out. We see the C-Jet return from the side of CSULB Black, and a similar theme here from Goomies. Who's going to take this set? Only time will tell as we see both teams rushing towards the zone.
That is a gear set I've not seen in a long time for Jet. Tenacity Thermal Drop Roller. Very... Whoa, huge brush flank! Oh my god!
Rush getting a lot of value there for sure with all those different picks. Not necessarily finding any of them on their own, but able to help lead the team into getting a good almost wipe on the CSULB Black side. But now it's going to be CSULB Black's turn. They were going to have to try to find picks here. They do find a pick on one of the Sloshers. We do see this Reef Slider come out. It's not necessarily going to be the flip they were looking for, as Jay and Naomi are doing a great job of holding the zone down with the rest of the company in tow.
I'm not sure if they were like they just like didn't run enough special power up, or like they hit the wrong part of the block, or like host diff.
Host diff.
That's a real thing with Reef Slider cheese, and I hate that.
No, that's something you do have to keep in mind. And as we look here, Tentadil, unfortunately, getting picked by that brush.
That is, in my opinion, the saddest moment when you're like, when you're just out of ink and just like, help, there's a brush harassing me.
Yeah, very sad for sure. Jay doing a great job of skirmishing out in this fight, finding a good key pick against the Slosher, finding another against the Zap, not necessarily staying up themselves, but able to hold the fort down and just stall out. And now it's going to be CSULB Black here as the zone is held in their favor.
Oh,
they're going to have to try to find picks. Yeah, really interesting ink storm here.
Really interesting, kind of corralling them into that corner, but it looks like not really taking advantage of that. Only the bucket left. A smart jump out there. 20 points remaining for the Goomies here, though. That's 45 penalty as well. These strikes in their base.
Yeah, those strikes are going to be really key and essential in order to get the members of Goomies up here, as Naomi looks
Oh,
for a crazy left flank. The Reef Slider looking to try to stop and cap the zone, but it doesn't find it. Jason jumping and trying to find more pressure, but they're all kind of going in one by one. The members of Goomies are the ones staying up here most consistently themselves. They're holding down the zone very well, and we do see the flip, but oh, it's just explosions all around Astrum.
absolutely. Really good flip there. Just like really scary, honestly, if they didn't get that flip there, because they did have their reslider player go down. But wow, Strike's finding a lot of camped jumps.
Yeah,
Lucky, I guess. I don't like. I highly doubt that like none of them were wearing stealth jump.
Yeah, we will have to see on that, but different members of Goomies doing their best to try to hold out, but we do see a couple of them go down. Bubble doing a great job of holding space on that top right, but they are going to have to find value, though, by getting some key picks.
And they do
find a pick on one of the shooters there.
Wait,
But look at the Suka finding a jump, just stalling out enough, getting another player up. This might be big.
This has to a clutch up moment. The teammates arrive. Bomb. One dies on zone. It's a 2v2. Zone gets recapped, but a beautiful pincer by the two support players.
Jason once again going back up, doing a great job of being able to find that pick there earlier, and able to get that great pincer, as you pointed out, Astron. And Goomies here is realizing, okay, the penalty's gone. We need to make sure that they can't necessarily find a KO themselves, and they're starting to throw out some of their own bombs and get all of themselves out there as well. Naomi, unfortunately, going down to that tap, but Jason doing an amazing job here of just holding down space and holding down paint. Really being a really key player here.
Whoa! Jason going on the aggression, probably because they had the teammate. The teammate probably was like, hey, I'm behind, then go in. Beautiful double kill.
For sure. Really great battle zap plays here from Jason. Love to see it.
Really scary here.
Yeah, it's getting scary. We do see the lead flip. Goomies stalling out the zone now. They realize that, okay, it's kind of do or die. And unfortunately for them, this is going to go in the favor of CSULB Black, who did a fantastic job of being able to just hold down that zone, bring it back from what was almost a borderline KO against them. And now we're going to be seeing this set go 2 and 3.
Absolutely bringing that all the way back from like 55 points all the way down to a KO is really good to really cool to see here. Especially because like those are 1v2 situation that they had to clutch up or lose.
Yeah, they definitely have to be careful about it, but they definitely use those different tools they had at their arsenal, right? They were able to even just take certain plays that were big as well, whether it was holding down different parts of the zone, like being able to take certain flank positions. They really did a great job of being able to understand what the Goomies were throwing at them and counter it in a way that was able to play to their strengths here on that zones match.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're closing down that gap though. Bringing it back to 2-3 is honestly it's a good feeling, because you never want to go back into like game 5 with like no momentum at all. Or was it game 6 now? God, these sets are best of 9, huh?
Best of 9 is definitely what we got going on tonight, and it's been creating a lot of interesting situations, right? And, we are not done yet. This match, we might be here for a while, Astrom. We could see a Game 9 situation with how both these teams are playing tonight, but a lot of cool plays coming out from both sides, as we've seen Goomies being able to really use those double sloshers effectively and get clean picks off of those, but also members of CSULB Black really leaning into their shooter picks, but just a different paint that weapons like the shot, like the Zap have been able to put out, has been essential to maintaining space and being able to be a bit more aggressive in ways that the sloshers necessarily can't always confidently hold down even. So as we head into this next set here, I'm interested to see what sorts of things CSULB Black pulls out as they continue to probably try to theorize how they can counter the absolute funny comp that has been proven to be effective, that is Double Slosher.
Yeah, absolutely. Double Slosher is just so hard to fight against, just because especially V Slosh, because they both have Splat Bomb, and every Splat Bomb is a combo.
Absolutely, yep. And looking here, I'm going to be curious to see what both how like both sides choose to fight out in this next match is. We will be hopping over to Tower Control and Hagglefish Market, a new map mode for tonight. Um, this is going to be a another sort of like snowbally map. We may see the Goomies be able to clutch it out again with their strikes, being able to just hold out the tower so strongly. But CSULB Black has the ability to potentially take more control of certain areas, like the switchback, like the glass under the right tents, right? So they're
Mhm.
gonna have to keep in mind like how they're gonna be approaching different areas of this map as we move into our next game.
As we see in this fly-in, what are our team comps today? Hydra! Hydra alert! Oh my god!
Yeah, we do see the Hydra. That's going to be an interesting pick, and I think that CSULB Black knows that, okay, we need to like do what we can to like make those buckets a little bit less dangerous for us, right? And by getting some more range in their favor, they may be able to do just that. We do see Naomi unfortunately go down on that side path there, as the Reef Slider also comes up, taking out the Headit inside of Goomies. And this is going to be a 2-2 situation now, as we see CSULB Black with the most control over the map.
This is what I love about this map, is that neutral is just everyone throwing stuff at the middle wall until someone dies to a bomb or like a flank happens. Like neutral is just like really tense on this map just because how tight that choke is, especially on tower control.
Yeah, I think I agree with that for sure. And just all the different like areas you have to keep in mind as you try to move that tower up too. And we still are kind of at a standstill here. Neither side really has had a chance to even really push the tower. We do see CSU Black with a mild lead, but it's not one that we're going to see stand for sure. And we do see 3 go down on the side of Goomies, Naomi being left alone and also going down.
Delayed wipe. We see the Booyah just being held here, just like, nope, nope, this is ours. Just throw it in the corner, finding a beautiful 2 picks.
Really strong picks there, although it's going to leave Just Bubble Up, who also goes down, and this is going to be a great opportunity for CSULB Black to find points. They did clear that first check, and now they are in snowball territory. This is where things become scary if you're trying to fight against the tower, and with members like that Reef Slider, like Duke on that S-Blast up, that's going to create a lot of scary pressure for the Goomies as they look to just keep holding space.
There's just, like, all 3 of their aggressive specials are just, this is a big circle, if you're in here, you die. Like, they have
literally
a Reef and 2 Booyahs there.
They have practically every single sort of, like, just big bomb, big, almost like splashdown style special at their disposal.
Yeah. They just controlled they controlled basically every single corner of that map in that 1 second. Like, there was very little space to stand. But as we see Goomies trying to make their push, unfortunately getting shutting down pretty early, it looks like. As how many Reef Sliders have you popped, Lancelot?
Lancelot really going crazy with those Reef Sliders, but hey, they've been working out.
They have been. They just create so much scary space. You do not want to get hit by even the indirect hitbox is terrifying.
It really is, and unfortunately Lancelot going down to that bomb there at the very end as they attempted to jump out, but Goomies really going crazy here with the bombs, really getting a lot of value out of it. Bay moving up really well with all this paint at the team's disposal. They find a wipeout after what was sort of like a little bit of a delayed wipe earlier on the side of CSULB Black. And this is going to be Goomies' opportunity to move up now. They have to ride the tower, though, in order to accomplish this, as we see Bubble and Rare playing on that tower while Jay and Naomi are attempting to take control of Switchback here.
Yeah, that wipeout was huge because they have very little special advantage here, and unfortunately, the bucket not waiting long enough for the what is it? Like, usually you want to wait for the tower to come to you so you can slide her onto the tower.
Yeah, that may have been a little bit of preemptive on their side, but you see Naomi here gain clutch plays on the tent, and that's going to be a wipeout. The Goomies being able to find different members, and this, we don't necessarily see the lead yet. That Booyah Bomb doing a good job of holding down space. We do see the lead flip now, but Goomies here are going to have to keep this momentum up if they're looking to find a game cap.
And I think they will. Oh my god.
Wow, that was that was quite the game, Mastrom. We saw like 2 near KO pushes from both sides. I mean, one of them resulting in the KO, let's be fair. Goomies doing a great job of being able to understand what was being thrown at them earlier on that game and bring a decisive win in their favor at the very end. Not necessarily diving in super hard into that tower, but being able to play back a little bit, just breathe a little bit, let the members of the team find their footing and get some specials up, and that was able to really lead them into a win.
Yeah, and it was really interesting to see just how much they capitalized off that one wipe. They're like they got that wipe. They knew the opponent didn't have cooler. They had like no specials going into that first checkpoint, and it was just a snowball from there.
Definitely snowbally for sure, and I mean both sides really got to experience that too. CSULB Black unfortunately wasn't able to break through that last checkpoint, but they were able to very quickly move through the different checkpoints on that map, and that's going to be something that they're going to have to take into consideration as they move forward with how they choose to play some of their weapon comps. Maybe certain picks like the Hydra, although they were able to be a bit more of a problem for the double slosher players, it might not. It might be a little bit too slow for them. They might need a bit more movement and flexibility on their side. So as we head into our next map mode, which should be Rainmaker on Undertow Spillway, I think we may see them going for a bit more of a fluid comp potentially.
Absolutely, and it is worth noting that this is the set point for Goomies.
Yeah, we definitely could see a win in the favor of Goomies here if they choose to, get that winning push they need. But CSULB Black is definitely still in this for sure. Even though it is set point, they have shown so far that they can get really confident, strong pushes themselves. They almost had that last map in their favor too, and they can definitely still pull out a win as well. So it's not over yet. Anything can happen.
Certainly not. And something about Goomies is that like they're running the same comp, right? At some point, you're gonna get more comfortable fighting those weapons. You're gonna get more comfortable with how the pacing is. That it doesn't really change that much, so you can take the time to plan a lot better in between games. You're not really gonna get surprised by anything.
Absolutely, for sure.
Now that I say this, they're gonna switch weapons.
No, they may indeed, but I mean, if it's not broken, why fix it if you're the Goomies at least? But I definitely think we could see some different stuff from CSULB Black heading into this next game here. As we are starting up, we are about to see what we got cooking.
Wellspring? No. Oh, interesting. Luna. Very, very interesting. I don't know how I feel about Dread Luna, but I've never seen that comp before.
Hey, they may be cooking, so definitely don't want to catch them out too soon for that. But we already see 2 down on both sides, actually. Players constantly going down. Duke finding a clutch double on the members of Goomies as they were able to take out their teammates. And now it's going to be in the favor of CSULB Black. This is their chance to go for a run on the Rainmaker.
Dude, I love Luna so much, it's crazy. The Inkstrom a little bit far behind, but finding the pick anyways. Are they going for the right checkpoint?
Definitely an interesting play they're going for the right, but hey, it may work in their favor as they do have a solid amount of control here around that checkpoint, but those ink strikes may have something to say about that as they do come up and 2 members are down on the side of Goomies, one coming off
That's stamp on that Luna, right?
Wow. Yeah, that is the stamp Luna, Esther.
As we're gonna see right here! Oh no! No, Stamp sucks!
Stamp unfortunately not finding that pick, but they do find the brush. Not bad at all. That's going to be
Not
some
bad, not
big
bad.
bombs out.
I was like, how is the headed alive?
Yeah, props to Rare for being able to barely juke that one out, but now it's going to be Goomies' turn here. We see them going for the more traditional route, but it does actually lead to a little bit of a stall play. Great reach slider there from the Dreadringer from the side of CSULB Black, but Bubble's going to be like, okay, we have to just take space now. We got to go now. Let's go for this route here and find the Rainmaker. They do get the checkpoint. Bubble trading out, but this is still going to be solid points for Goomies as they have 49 on the board now.
Not a bad push at all, but also not a safe push in the slightest. It's very, very doable for CSULB to come back here, especially with all these specials they're putting out. Oh my god, look at how much space they're taking!
Absolutely, absolutely. And looking here, it's going to come down to the different members of CSULB Black to find certain picks. If I were them, I would probably just commit to the left, and they do. Really, really good decision there, if you ask me.
Oh, the Luna! I thought the Luna was cooked there, but the Luna is cooking!
Yeah, Luna's getting some good picks there, but it is just going to leave the Zap alone, who's going to be trying to dodge the Ming Strikes, but providing some decent jumps for their team despite all that.
Yeah,
I
think that Inkstorm as well, also putting a little bit of pressure to keep those jumps safe, but it looks like they're not winning a lot of those fights anyways, but smartly going back with the cooler, trying to just reset to neutral, they get another chance, it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely, and we see the members of Goomies being able to get some space back here. They don't necessarily have control over that Rainmaker pop. We do see it go in CSULB Black's favor, but they have been able to get decent control over different areas of their plat. But unfortunately, a lot of them go down, and we're actually still at a point.
Let's go!
We're actually still... Oh, to launch hammer throw,
Whoa.
and another great pick.
They're having
but they
such
don't
a
have
hard
the
time. They're having such a hard time getting this checkpoint. They can get all the picks they want, but it doesn't matter if they can't get the check. They're trying to just feed for it. I don't think you can against two sloshers and a head. It's so difficult to get up that podium.
It really is. I get what they're going for. They want to just feed in to get that quick right push and grab the lead real quick, because you get a very fast points if you take that right route. But nevertheless, they're going to have to figure out a way to use their specials in such a way where they can just get a near wipe.
2 down, 3 down, 4.
Ooh, that's a pretty clutch play there. That's going to be what they need. They got to make sure that they can get the rain.
There's no way. They cannot get this checkpoint! They cannot get this checkpoint! Luna finding another 3! Can they get the checkpoint now? Please! The Luna going in further, finding another! They get the checkpoint, 30 seconds to play, stamped in their base! They just need 9 points for lead. They don't find it! 1 point meme! They need to pop it and go 2 points. They just need to touch it. Can they win this pop? No, the strikes! The strikes are zoning them off, and it looks like Goomies are just gonna grab it and go all the way back just to hold it until overtime. The overtime will happen. 5 seconds left, 3v3. Overtime is happening. They have to get this pop. They have to pick it up and just push it a little bit further. But they're going there. Oh my god, the set finding it, but it's going to be the set for Goomies!
What was that last, 30 seconds to minute of the game?
They couldn't get the checkpoint! They couldn't get the checkpoint! They couldn't get the checkpoint! They get the checkpoint, but get 1 point lead! They get 1 point memed! I cannot believe
my jaw's on the floor. Oh, good props to CSULB Black. They really tried, but man, losing by 1 point. I'm sorry. Really great effort. But man, my heart's a little broken for them. Wow.
Oh, that is a heartbreaker.
I mean, props to Goomies though, because when your back's up against the wall like that, right? We're at a point where this set could have gone 3-4, and now you're seeing the momentum really start to carry in your opponent's favor. You need to make sure that they can like not very comfortably get that pushback. And Jay did a great job of being able to dive that Rainmaker into their team snipe. And that was kind of the difference maker there, because suddenly now CSULB Black had to push up the Rainmaker a little bit again from an area where their teammates really couldn't confidently support them, really. And that was really able to send the set home for the Goomies.
It's really interesting to note that CSULB, they did get the pop, but they couldn't pick it up because of the trip strikes. Like, oh my god,
Yeah,
like the
no,
game
you're
could have
right.
gone so many different ways there. Like it was like just the closest game you could ask for. But wow, congratulations to Goomies for getting third place Division 4.
Absolutely, and this was also apparently Gumi's swan song. So congrats to
Oh
them
wow.
for being able to close out their time as a team together like this. Um, Really great showing from them. Really great showing also from CSULB Black. They really, both sides really fought for their lives throughout this set. Like when it comes down to like one point, when it comes down to leads rapidly swapping, like you can tell just how talented both of the players on these teams are and how much they've really learned throughout the course of this season, through past seasons or the circuit, um, and just how their journeys will ultimately continue in the future.
Hmm. But yeah. What a great pair of sets to watch though, as we close out this night.
No, agreed. Big shout outs to UTK Feeders and Goomies for winning each of their sets respectively tonight. And we're going to have plenty of sets coming up as well as we head into the rest of this weekend with all of our different final sets occurring, and maybe a third place match or two, right, if we're able to squeeze those in. But nevertheless, hope you all had a great time here tonight with the CCA. We will be closing off and just kind of giving our goodbyes. But Astrum, before we go, do you have any closing thoughts? Do you want to plug yourself?
Oh, I'm good. I'm still reeling from the oh my god 1 point meme, but no, I don't really got any socials to plug or anything. How about you, Amazen?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when it comes to me, you can find me here at the CCA with different projects like the podcast and so many other things, cooking up fun, silly stuff. But you can also find me on Blue Sky at Omazen there. And that's actually just going to be it for tonight. Thank you all for joining us, everyone, for this great doubleheader. Really close games overall. And we will see you all later. Goodbye.
Good night.